crosswalk kicks things off in at number 10. Somewhere in South America on Google Maps, there is a crossroad, but there are some things you should know before you decide to cross the street at this busy intersection. Aside from looking both ways, before you cross, you might want to take extra precautions because you might stumble across a dark figure. According to the local legends, if you enter the middle, you will see everything go dark, and then you'll be met face to face with a shadowy figure known as the Crossroad Reaper. Well, here's a picture of the Reaper caught on Google Maps camera. Don't believe he's real? Well, why don't you try crossing the intersection yourself? And then you try to tell me you never saw him. Up next, number 9, we have the creepy Scientology base. The Church of Scientology has been involved in a ton of controversy over the years. From its treatment of its members to its highly secretive practices, a lot of people are actually scared of this religion. For people that aren't members, it's actually pretty hard to know what exactly is going on inside of their buildings. One of their churches, called Trementina, is one of the properties owned by Scientology that can be seen on Google Maps over in New Mexico. Well, take a look for yourselves. You guys are looking at it right now. Okay, what the heck is happening inside of this building? They say that they use it to preserve books and movies, but honestly, who knows? They could be performing satanic rituals for all we know. Nuclear testing facility makes its way onto this list at number 8. Here we have a picture of a Google satellite image of a nuclear testing facility located in Nevada. So yeah, probably pretty close to Area 51. I think the reason why you should never visit this location is it's highly obvious. It's definitely not open to the public, and I'm not sure why you would want to even attempt to step foot near this location, and that's because it is full of so much radiation. Mushroom clouds can be seen up to 100 miles away in the distance, so this actually caused a lot more tourists wanting to visit Las Vegas. My idea of a good time does not involve slot machines and clouds of nuclear radiation, but that's just my opinion. It's actually really scary to think about it, that the fact that we are testing deadly nuclear weapons. Helltown in New Baltimore brings us to number 7. A Google Street View car managed to capture this image on their camera. Could this just be an equipment glitch, or could something more sinister be going on in this small town? Apparently people in this area are saying that there is a portal to hell in the area. Residents of New Baltimore have been reported that their little town has been taken over by evil demonic entities, so of course Google sent out a car to get, better pictures, more updated pictures, more accurate pictures. How about you bring them a couple of priests and it's time to bless the area. Next up, number 6, we have China's Area 51. What you're looking at right now could actually be China's version of Area 51. Is this real life right now? These strange white lines were discovered on Google Maps in the middle of China's Gobi Desert, and this image struck so many conversations online about what it could be. Most people believe that it's a calibration pattern for spy satellites, but then there are others that say that these lines prove aliens exist. These lines are located near the headquarters of China's space program. But unfortunately, we may never know the truth about what is really going on here. A very haunted bridge brings us to number 5. This is Booger Holler Bridge, and if you value your life, well, you'll never want to set foot or attempt to cross it, and that's because it is known to be extremely haunted. Legend has it that a father and son drowned while trying to cross the low bridge on a horse and buggy many years ago. And then there's another story about a woman and her child drowning when their car stalled on the bridge and the car was thrown into the river due to the strong current. People have even said that they can hear screams from the bridge, and people do satanic practices on it for some reason. So needless to say, the Google Street View car got close to the bridge, but they didn't dare cross it. Number 4, we have a creepy doll village. If you don't like looking at scary life-sized human dolls, then you'll never want to visit a small village in Nagoro, Japan. But in case you're curious, well, here's a taste of what you'll find there. Well, I told you that these dolls were creepy, but that's not all. Apparently an old lady will make a new doll every time someone in the village dies. So the amount of dolls outnumber the amount of people actually living in the village by about 10 to 1. I mean, could you imagine walking around at night and seeing all of these creepy dolls just staring at you? Couldn't they just be placed inside of an art gallery or something? This whole thing just makes me uncomfortable. So you know what, let's get the heck away from it and let's move on. Let's see what we have next. Scary underwater pyramids is up next at number 3. Well, this is an image taken from Google Maps that shows us that some creepy underwater pyramids might be lurking at the bottom of the ocean over in the Bahamas. This image sparked a lot of controversies when people said that these underwater pyramids could prove that aliens might be living among us. More reasonable people believe that these pyramids could have been made by an ancient civilization. But they also admit that we still can't rule out the existence of alien life forms, just yet. A nuclear fallout zone steps onto this list at number 2. Pripyat, Ukraine, has a bad reputation of being the site of the worst nuclear disaster in history. It's literally a ghost town with abandoned buildings that will probably never be lived in for a very long time. But the creepiest part of this town has to be this picture right here. Well, take a look for yourselves. It's literally a room full of old gas masks that were left behind. I don't know what's scarier, the amount of gas masks or the fact that there were child-sized gas masks left inside of an abandoned school. And topping this list, and at number 1, we have one of the most dangerous cities on Earth. This right here is El Bronx, Colombia. And even though the city is completely demolished now, it was once known as the most dangerous city on Earth. This was a neighborhood that was known for child prostitution and murder. Put it this way, if you found yourself walking the streets of this neighborhood, something awful would probably happen to you. Some of these buildings also had a lot of rotting murder victims inside, and gangs used to capture and feed rival gang members to starving dogs just to send the other gang a message.
Starting off with number 10 is the underwater base. Now, Argentine researcher Marcelo Igazusta found what he believes to be an underwater alien base. The object is 8.5 miles long and it seems to be a pyramid of some kind. It's located right off the coast of Mexico near the ancient Aztec and Mayan pyramids, which could be coincidental or totally random. Since this pyramid has an 8.5 mile base, that catapults it into being the biggest pyramid in the world. Forget Egypt, humans could have never built something like that, especially underwater, so Marcelo believes only aliens could have accomplished it. I mean, cut us some more slack, we're better than that. He believes either the base was there from before or an alien craft landed in the water and was built to do so and they just never left. And coming in at number 9 is the Arctic landing. So okay, bit of fake advertisement, this one isn't located in the Arctic, it's actually located in Antarctica. Not the same thing, you guys. Either way, Russian UFO enthusiast Valentin Degratev claims he found an alien crash site in Antarctica. There seems to be a saucer-shaped dent in the snow, like the flying saucer landed on its side and just went straight through the snow. I hope you got what I meant when I did that. I mean, I need to speculate and offer other explanations like, okay, is the ice breaking apart underneath there and that's what's causing the slit? But I feel like that's far-fetched, but then again, so is a flying saucer. But it is peculiar and it's surrounded by ridges and flat snow, so it's just a big unexplainable anomaly. I don't know, guys. Is it just a random slit? Is it an alien saucer? I don't really know. At number 8 we have the Martian Twins. Now during the Kofun era in Japan, which was during 300 to 538 AD, they used to build Kofun tombs. And these tombs were for people of the ruling class and they were shaped like keyholes most commonly and surrounded by water. That's all well and good, but alien hunters spotted a mound on Mars that looked identical to one specific Kofun era tomb. Now they fully believe that the suspicious similarities between both features is evidence that Martians settled on Earth centuries ago after a catastrophic unknown event forced them to leave the red planet. They ended up building a similar structure on Earth and then going back to Mars when it was finally appropriate. But again, I feel like this whole theory is speculation. How do we know what this catastrophic unknown event was, and if it even happened? If aliens have the technology to travel to another planet and set up camp there, surely they could have evaded whichever terrible thing happened on Mars. Is that too much to ask? I don't think it is. I don't think my expectations are that high, you guys. Plausible. Filling on number 7 slot is the alien base. Now back in April of this year, a few UFO hunters were searching Google Earth for some sus looking and boy did they find it. There's this really weird 500-meter long object off the coast of Antarctica that from the top looks like an iceberg but literally isn't. The left of it is oddly straight and the top has vertical ridges on it, making it not look like an iceberg at all. According to UFO Sightings Hotspot, it doesn't fit the description of an iceberg, and I quote, "I'm not an iceberg expert, but this object is really peculiar and looks like a vessel disguised as an iceberg." I have to fully agree with you, honestly. I feel like the aliens were probably like, hey, just cover the top in an ice sheet. These dumb humans won't notice the difference. But we did. We are on to you. Dumb humans, May have taken us a few years, but we got there. Now at number 6 is bad parking. I just found this one hilarious because alien life is meant to be so advanced and ahead of us, and I look at this image and I'm like, were you drunk driving? Like, this is shockingly bad. Now the image was located by YouTube channel Secure Team 10, who found it crash landed in a restricted part of Arizona with a white blacked out car parked next to it. CIA perhaps? Probably. Now the flying saucer looks really old-fashioned if anything, like it's not slick or thin, and I'm pretty sure it landed upside down, which is what's really funny to me. Like, how do you mess up a landing that badly? Maybe the aliens decided to take one of the old ones for a ride and then didn't realize how outdated it was, and then boom, disaster. Flipped it over. You're gonna be grounded when you get back to your planet. Coming in at number 5 is the slit. In the very remote British territory of South Georgia, a really strange thing was found in the snow, and no, we're not talking about my ex, but wow, he keeps popping up in these videos. Now alien hunting YouTube channel Secure Team 10 found a slit in the snow that they claim has all the signs that point to a UFO crash landing. It has the exact trajectory of an angular flying object that came to a screeching halt in the snow. Now the imprint isn't a plane, otherwise we would have known. It's not military craft, or we would have known, and the crash is too narrow and small to be anything other than an alien craft. But I mean, I don't really know. I think calling every weird slit in the snow an alien crash landing is a bit of a cop-out, but alien hunters clearly know better than I do, so I'ma just leave it to the experts. At number 4 is the flying saucer. Clearly you can tell I'm running out of title ideas, and I mean there's only so many different ways you can say spaceship, okay? Either way, YouTube channel Secure Team found an image on Google Earth that they believe is a flying saucer. Located in the South Pole, the circular object in question is sticking out of a mountain amongst the snow. But the rocky areas around it are quite rigid and randomly cut, whereas this object is oddly round, and like perfectly round at that. And I can't zoom in enough to tell if it's just a round cut of water that's randomly there or if it's actually alien aircraft. But since I've never seen alien aircraft, I don't even know. Even if I could zoom in, would I know? Who knows? Now there's like a thinner outline inside the actual outline of the round bit, which seems unnatural to me. Like, there's no way that bit's natural. Has to be man-made or alien made. But I feel like zooming in more is necessary to get an actual conclusion, and alas, I can't do that. And I'm definitely not gonna go to Antarctica just to find out. But you can, and let me know if you do. Filling our number 3 slot is the floating island. Now located in Argentina, back in 2016, UFO sightings daily fully believed this floating island was the entrance to an alien base. On Google Maps, it looks like a random crescent was cut out of the greenery in the area. Like, there's no other shape like that found nearby, or on the continent, or in the country for that matter. The island actually moves and rotates in a circle, and considering Argentina has had many UFO sightings over the years, it could be possible that aliens have their base underneath this island. Never say never. Now the slit could easily fit a 100-meter UFO through it, and no one has actually gone and explored the water beneath the floating island. I think it's just really weird how there's like an oddly perfect circular island that magically got cut out by Mother Nature, and oh, it also rotates and moves. Like, nah honey, that's not Mother Nature, that is alien nature. Now at number 2 are the skid marks. Now, in June of this year, UFO theorist Scott Waring found what he believed to be an alien crash site in Antarctica, because apparently that's the go-to landing pad for most aliens on this list. It's located towards the north of the island, off the coast of another little island, if you know what that means, because I don't, since I'm not an Antarctica expert. Now on the image, he claims part of the UFO's wing is folded up and its concave area is severely dented. There are evident burn skid marks trailing behind the craft, and the craft itself looks to be made of some metallic material. The craft is apparently 96 meters long, while the trail it left behind it is nearly 450 meters long, so clearly it was a really rough landing. And finally, at number 1 is the debated. So even though this one has been debunked, I put it as number 1 because it was so widely believed to be an alien crash landing site for so long before, you know, it obviously wasn't. Now the satellite image shows a mountainous island off the coast of Antarctica. Now in the smooth snow, there's a block of something that's crashed into the snow, leaving a long deep trail behind it. I mean, and I get the allegation, it's narrow, and how often do things really crash into Antarctica unless it's a UFO? From this list, clearly, so I get why the thought was there. And the trail is quite long, but if you follow the trail back, you'll see the trail goes back to a mountain peak and a bunch of disturbed snow. And how many times did I just say trail in the last 30 seconds? Now, people believe an avalanche occurred and debris was what the object was, or perhaps it was a trapped submarine, I don't really know. Either way, debunked, finally.
Coming at number 10 now, we have the Mazda Raceway. This is a paved road racing track in California that was built in 1957, and for some strange reason, it's totally blurred out. I tried searching around for the reason behind this and I couldn't seem to find anything. It doesn't appear to be anything to do with the military, it's just a normal racing track. Or is it? Why would Mazda want us to not see the track from above? And why would Google agree to this? Alright, getting even more serious now at number 9, we have HARP. Some of you guys might remember HARP from our other videos. It's a US Air Force research facility with many theories around the work done there, including experiments to control the weather. Regardless of if that's true or not, their base in Alaska is blocked out on Google Maps. You can only really see some weird copy and pasted brownish blocks. Now sure, there might be something very normal going on there, but this is also fuel for the conspiracy theorists. Next up at number 8 now, we have Noordwijk aan Zee. This is a small part of a town in the Netherlands that has the strangest blur on it that I've seen so far. If you could see underneath that blur, you would see the ESTEC, or the European Space Research and Technology Centre. Now they obviously do important space work there, but why would we not be allowed to see it from above? One theory is that it's hiding rocket technology from rival space agencies. Next up at number 7 now, we have the Michael Aff building. This building is in Utah, and although it might sound like it belongs to some nice guy called Michael, it's a bit more serious than that. It's actually an area used by the US Army to test bio and chemical weapons. If you try and view it on Google Maps, you just get this weird whited out area with swirls and square patterns. Whatever crazy chemical technology is being concocted there, we are not supposed to see the details. Alright, moving on to number 6 now, we have the KFC kernel. We've done a few serious ones so far, so here's a little bit of a weird but very real one to lighten the mood. The KFC kernel's face is automatically blurred on every Google Maps image. Now I'm sure you guys might be able to find one, but it must have been manually unblurred. You see, this is because Google's face recognition technology automatically blurs out any face it finds for privacy reasons. It got a little bit carried away and blurred the kernel's face on the front of every single KFC. That's about 19,000 of them. The Google employee who has to manually fix all of that will be busy for quite a while. Alright, next up at number 5 now, we have Princeton Road. In the English town of Stockton-on-Tees, there is a street called Princeton Road with only a few houses, and one of them is mysteriously blurred out. Some celebrities do this for privacy reasons, but the person who lives there said that they have never requested that Google blur out their home. Ironically, whoever was trying to hide something about this house has earned it a lot more attention because of the mysterious blur. Alright, moving on to number 4 now, we have Grunard Island. This small island off the coast of the UK is less than a mile wide and was where British scientists tested deadly anthrax bombs during the Second World War. They tested them on 60 sheep, all of whom died within 60 days. Ever since then, the area has been a no-go zone. You're not allowed to go there, and the blurred Google Maps image reflects its mysterious nature. Alright, at the number 3 spot now, we have the Garden of Gethsemane. Any Christians watching this video might recognize this as the place where Jesus was said to have spent his last ever night before his crucifixion. It's also said to be the place where his mother Mary was buried before ascending to heaven. It's also totally blurred out on Google Maps. Why would this be? It's a very famous pilgrimage site. You can go there yourself. It's not hidden away at all. So why is it hidden from above? Very strange indeed. Alright, next up at number 2 now, we have the Secret City. This one is actually so secret that I couldn't even find where it was on Google Maps. I had to rely on other people's screenshots of it. The Secret City is a blurred out area of Google Maps deep in Russia's Siberian tundra. Now it was thought that nobody lived in that area, but information has leaked out over the years that in 1986 the Soviet Union sealed off dozens of secret cities with over 1 million people living in them. They attached strange code names to them like Tomsk 7 and Arzamas 16, and some people believe this ominous brown blob on Google Maps is the hidden view of one of these cities. And finally now at number 1 we have Mururoa Atoll. The world knows about this small Pacific island because for 33 years, from 1966 to 1996, France tested nuclear bombs there. They dropped 193 of them on this small island to see the effects and fine-tune their design. The result was incredible incredible environmental damage, leaving the place radioactively contaminated. Perhaps that's why France doesn't want you to see it, as the place is just one thin blur on Google Maps.